Hi, my name is Lorene and I am an alcoholic. The book suggests that I tell you in a general way what it used to be like, what happened, and what it's like today. And I'm going to try to do that to the best of my ability. I was born the oldest girl to a family of four. I had an older brother, then it was me, a younger brother, then my sister. Well, by me being the first girl, I got a lot of attention. And by the time my sister was born, she started getting all the attention and I became real selfish. I also was born real skinny. I mean, through elementary school, middle school, and most of all of high school. I was real small. So my self-esteem was really, really low. So I felt like the only way to get attention was to act out. And I started acting out around about the age of 9 or 10. And I started stealing my parents' cigarettes. They used to smoke Winston's. And my dad owned his own shop. And I would crawl in the room underneath the bed and go in the money bags and steal money and steal cigarettes from him and my mom. I was acting out in high school. Now, I was really, really smart. And I went to summer school so I could graduate early. But I acted up so much during the regular years that I ended up graduating when I was supposed to. That was 1979. So then when I graduated, I ended up leaving to go into the military. I felt like I needed some kind of discipline or some kind of structure. But while I was in high school, I met this guy that was 11 years older than me, and my parents didn't like him, and they couldn't really give me a reason why. I think because he was 11 years older than me. But since they didn't like him, it gave me more incentive to be with him. I ended up going in the service, going to North Carolina, and then Fitzsimmons in Aurora, Colorado. I went there, he joined me, we got married, then we ended up going overseas. And once I went overseas, the drinking kicked off because over there in Europe, all they do is drink. And they was like, we drink gin, because gin make you sin. And at that time, I was all about sinning, so I really went overboard with the drinking. Got into a little trouble over there with the military police, and my husband ended up taking a rap, so he came on home. And then I followed him about 2 years later when they met back me to the hospital where the president go in Washington, D.C., Walter Reed. I ended up going to Walter Reed Hospital to have surgery on my back. So after that, I moved back home, living with my mama, and I filed for a divorce, and then started getting good jobs from Department of Transportation to Department of Rehabilitative Services to Department of Motor Vehicles. I couldn't keep these jobs because I had crossed the line, and I would go home for lunch and either fall asleep because I hadn't been asleep the night before, or go home and think I'm going to just do one and can't get up and come back to work. So I ended up losing them jobs because I would go to work in the morning and the boss found me sleep at the desk because I hadn't went to sleep the night before. So anyway, I ended up losing a good job and started working for a temp service. And I ended up working at this dispatch company where they would call and for emergency services and you just dispatch the companies out. And one day they was calling and didn't get an answer. And I would sleep on the floor at this company. And the supervisor came in, busted me sleep on the floor, and I ended up losing my job. Well, I did this for a while, and I didn't think I had a problem because I kept telling myself I'm not, using it, through the veins, and I'm not standing on the corner selling my body. And I was just as bad as everybody else, but this is what I kept telling myself. So I really didn't have a problem. I would disappear from home. I lived with my mama for a while. And I would disappear from home when I got my check at first of the month. And she wouldn't see me because I was broke. So anyway, I wound up getting a efficiency apartment. And that lasted for a little while. And what happened was my first husband that I ended up divorcing, we were still friends, and he came over the house one day, really to take me to a doctor's appointment. and I told him that I wasn't going, and I went back to sleep. And when I woke up, he was laid on the floor, dead. But I just assumed he was on the floor asleep. I crossed over him, went into the icebox, got something to drink, and came back and went back to sleep. So when I woke up, that's when I realized that he had OD'd and he had died. I need to say that when I looked and saw his body on the floor, the first thing I did was call a friend to find out what to do. The ambulance was not the first people I called. So they told me he had passed on the way to the hospital, and I took that on. So I vowed to myself that I was going to get my life together and end up getting on. I am an alcoholic and drugs is in my story, so I ended up getting on some meth, thinking the meth to get me off the heroin, and I ended up doing both. So have you ever been in your place, and you know that the sheriff gonna come put you out? You know you're being evicted, and you still sit there and you wait for them to actually knock on the door and put you out? Well, that's what they had to do. And I remember it snowing this month when they came, and I'm standing on the corner with nowhere to go. And I'm calling my brothers and sisters, and they helped me out for a while at the hotel. And then finally, my mother said, okay, I'll get you a place in my name, and you just meet me at the bank and pay me the first of the month, because I was getting a disability check for having my back on my surgery. Having surgery on my back, I'm sorry. So I did this for a while, and one day I had a friend, and this friend had given me this letter one day. And at the end of the letter it said, if you ever want help, I got a cousin at this place, and here's the number. And at the time he gave me the letter, I said, I don't need any help. And what I did was, I put the letter away. I never threw the letter. I never threw it in the trash. I ended up just stuffing it in one of my sock drawers or something. I don't know why. But this particular day in the apartment that my mother had got for me, I said, God, I cannot do this anymore. Please help me. And I went and got this letter. And I called the number at the end of the letter. Some man answered, and what he said was, we got a bed, you can come. Now, this was July the 1st when I called, and I didn't tell anyone in my family. And I remember meeting my mama at the bank to give her the rent for July. And I remember my mama saying to me, I'll be so glad when you get yourself together. You look so bad. And I never said to her that I was leaving. I just said, I am, Mama, I am. And I ended up getting on a train and going from Virginia to Chicago. And then catching a bus from Chicago to Louisville. But I need to tell you that when I got off that train in Chicago, I got in a cab and I asked that cab driver to take me to get some drugs. And because I was too sick, I got enough to make it to Chicago. I needed some from Chicago to Louisville. And he did that. And when I got on the bus, I met this nice young man that was meeting his wife in Louisville. And he said, I'll drop you off where you need to go. And when we pulled up in front of this building, and that's what it was, a home, a building, a raggedy building to me, the first thing I said was, this is not where I'm supposed to go. And the man said, this is the address on this piece of paper, and you're getting out of here. So I walked in the door, scared, shaking, sick. And I met this young lady. She said, we're going to take care of you. And she ended up sending me to another recovery program for detox. And when I went to that program for detox, they tried to they wanted me to stay there, but I kept saying no. I came up to go to some place called Wayside Christian Mission. So after 7 days, I ended up coming back to Wayside Christian Mission, and I still couldn't believe that I was in this homeless shelter as if I had somewhere to go. But anyway, I started taking these classes. what I can remember, what stood out the most for me at this time was that it was a twofold disease and I had an allergic reaction to alcohol. Well, that clicked for me because I'm allergic to strawberries and I'm allergic to latex. So I said, okay, if I don't drink a drug, if I don't put one in me, I don't have to worry about acting out. Because what he told me was, if I put one in me, it kicks off the phenomenon craving. So, okay, if I use latex, I break out. I eat strawberries, I break out. So now this book is telling me, and the people that's teaching this class, that if I put alcohol in me, how I break out is it kicks off a phenomenon craving and I can't stop. So I said, okay, well, hell, I never knew that. I would have stopped a long time ago. I didn't know that's why I couldn't stop. So at that time, that's all I could remember was the fact that I could not stop. And now I know I'm allergic to it and kicks off this phenomenon craving and I just want more and more. And at the beginning, that's all I changed. I just didn't put no more alcohol or anything in me. Now, mind you, I went through the rest of these classes and we got to this step where they came to believe, and I was like, believe in what? Because I'm already married with God, so I'm sure not going to believe in him. Mind you, I ain't even think about that he brought me this far at the age of 42. He just saved my life, because I'd have been in plenty of positions where he could have took my life, and I'd have been in plenty of positions where I wanted to kill myself. So, but I'm married with God. So anyway, at the time, all I did was did not drink a drug. And things, I kept going to these classes. I kept learning about these instincts, and I got to make a decision, and I need to tell, the people that's at Wayside that's listening to this, that the same departments that you all work in, that I worked in, and I'm going to be honest with you, I did the same thing that y'all did. But someone off one day, and what it said was that I need to make a decision, turn my will and my life over to the care of God, and that's exactly what I did. So I decided that I don't want to do these things anymore. And so I got to figure out why I don't want to do it. Because I also remember in the doctor's opinion, I talked about that men and women drink essentially because they like the effect. So what did I like about it? What I didn't like about myself that I liked about it when I did alcohol or drugs. And so I felt like I was at this point where I had to figure it out. So they told me about these instincts, and I had to work on me and look at me, and me being mad with God and with my mama and the sisters and the brothers and the drug dealers and all this other stuff. I had to now look at me, and what I found out is I played a big part in all that, where I put it on everybody else. So anyway, you know how they say, stay away from relationships and early recovery. Well, I didn't do that. And I thought because I was in a relationship with somebody that was at another shelter and not at Wayside, that they couldn't tell me what to do. But what I didn't realize was one of my biggest character defects was controlling, taking care of people, and trying to fit things to the way I wanted to be. So I ended up marrying this man, early in recovery. Ended up moving with him, then we got married, and we ended up getting a divorce, and I won't out that relationship long enough for I ended up in a relationship with a woman. It's crazy. But the whole time, I never used. Because what I knew was, I thought it was God, my recovery, and then me. But what I realized was, it was God, my recovery, and everybody else. It still wasn't about me. So things kept happening, and I kept saying, God, why me? You know what I mean? Why are they doing this to me? Why are they doing this to me? And what I realized is that I was doing it to myself because I was not changing certain things. See, I thought it was just about me not using. And yeah, and I did the inventory, and I looked at instincts that was affected. And when them instincts was affected, I still ran off and did what I wanted to do. And I couldn't figure out why I kept getting what I was getting that made me use before. Why I'm getting that pain now, and it's not going away, and I'm not using. And what I realized was I needed to change some things about me. And God showed me how to sit you down so you can do that. And so I started looking at me. Now, when you get to a certain part in the program, you get to this maintenance stage, and the maintenance stage is doing your own inventory and praying and helping another alcoholic. Well, I currently, run a recovery program for men. I'm over that program, so I had that helping other people. But what I wasn't doing was my inventory all the time, and I wasn't praying when I needed to. Because I thought I was just supposed to get up in the morning and pray before I go to night. But sometimes I need to stop in the middle of the day and pray. So I started doing the inventory part, like daily inventory, and just looking at me and not looking at everybody else. And I started to change some things. And then God put me in a position where I had to sit down, where I couldn't do nothing but look at me. And today, I can tell you that life still shows up, even with me being clean. But by me putting God first, my recovery, and did me, and not putting nobody else before that, everybody else after that, I've learned to conquer some things that I know I would have used before. I just had another major surgery on my back. And, people kill me when they say they don't want to tell nobody. I don't care. I mean, what you going to do with what I tell you about me? I mean, what you going to do with it? So I'm going to tell you, which means I'm going to tell the doctors, nurses, I'm going to tell you if I'm going to call my sponsor. So I let everybody know I was an addict, because my biggest fear was getting hooked on these pills. And I could tell you, I remember calling the doctor, telling him I was in pain and needed some more pills. And he said, no, I'm not going to give them to you, and I'm bad. But you know what? He would have never told me that. If I wouldn't have told him that I was in recovery, if I would have told him, man, I was in recovery, he would have kept giving me the pills. So, I thank God. I thank God that I can be honest today about my recovery, and I really don't care who knows about it. I really don't care when I'm in pain. I don't have a problem calling my sponsor. My sponsor is also my supervisor. And we go at it sometimes, and I don't have a problem calling her. I don't have a problem crying on her. I don't have a problem calling the top boss, crying on him. I do whatever I have to do for my recovery today, because it's the most important thing. Am I perfect? No. Am I still making some mistakes? Yes. But am I learning from them? Yes, I am. And I think that everything that's going on right now with this virus, it's just another way of God sitting me down so I can work on the spiritual part of my program and get closer to Him. So with that being said, my name is Lorene. I'm an alcoholic, and I hope I help somebody today. Have a blessed day.
See